side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. love if you feel like I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Matchday Live here at Shamrock Park. Portadown welcome their neighbours from across the roundabouts, Glenavon, in the Danske Bank Premiership. It's a big game here at Shamrock Park. Obviously no fans, everybody's sort of a bit bummed about that, but listen, we're going to try to bring the action to you in your living rooms and just wherever you're watching at home. First of all, I'd like to say, take this one moment if you can, like our YouTube page. Saying last week about 70% of people that watch these videos don't actually subscribe to our channel, so if you can, it would be a great help if we can even get half the people that's on watching here to click that like button. It gives us the help that we need to sort of grow our page and keep increasing our content. So definitely sit there, click that wee thumbs up button, and if you want, you can click the notification bell as well. It'll let you know when there's a video coming out, and you'll be the first to watch it. Over to Jonny.
Yes, hello, welcome along. As Mark says, I'm Jonny. For live coverage of today's Danske Bank Premiership game, big Mid-Ulster derby against Glenavon. As Mark was alluding to, no fans in today. It's not something we would want. Normally Mid-Ulster derbies bring out the crowd, be a big crowd here, big anticipation for the game, but as Mark says, we're going to try and do our best for you to try and help you enjoy the game as we go along. Today's match will be live streamed on 247.tv at a special one-off price today of £5. I think Mark is going to maybe give us a bit of an explanation about the one-off price today and the reasons for it.
We had a wee bit of an issue last week, our last home game against Ballymena, where we've had internet issues basically at Shamrock Park here, but we had our internet service provider out with us midweek. They've installed a new line for us, so we've been testing it during the week a couple of times. We've done as many diagnostic tests and sort of practice streams as we can. They all went smooth, everything went well. So listen, because we had the issue last week, I know the second half sort of was a whole lot better than the first, but we've decided as a club we're going to let people buy the stream for a one-off discounted price of £5. So if you can, sit there, go on to 247.tv/NIPrem, buy your stream for the day. It's going to be myself on talking for 90 minutes, unfortunately for yourself, but we'll have Shane McCabe, ex-Portadown and Glenavon midfielder, coming along with me for co-commentary. So it'll be interesting to see his views in the games. He's done a bit of co-commentary before, so he knows how to handle the mic and stuff. It'll be interesting to see his view in the game and how it all shapes out. But definitely sit there, go on to 247 TV on this week break. We're coming up and purchase a stream. Trust us, we think we've done all the testing we can. So that's the reason for the £5 this week. But hopefully he'll enjoy an uninterrupted stream. And from our side, we hope a big Portadown win here at Shamrock Park. But talk about today's game then. Glenavon come into this game in really good form. They're unbeaten in 6.
Yeah, unbeaten in 6. There's a win against Crusaders there in amongst that as well. They'll also come in today. Conor McCluskey is renamed the Irish League Player of the Month. So they're coming in, as you say, Mark, on a wee bit of form, unbeaten in their last 6. They drew there with Carrick on Tuesday night. They'll be disappointed with that result in their current form. Carrick were down to 10 men. But no, come in good form. We are coming off the back of 2 defeats. But prior to that, we had put a decent bit of form in together. Although they didn't translate into wins, but took points off the big boys and the likes of your Crusaders, your Cliftonvilles, and your Coleraine. So I'm sure Martin or Matthew Tipton will be keen to get that run sort of back going again and get a bit of form back into the Portadown team.
Yeah. Just talking about that 6-game unbeaten run, they seem to play Carrick Rangers every other day.
Yeah.
For the last wee while, they got 2 draws and a win against them, but in there as well that was a big win at Seaview Park for them, going away to the Crusaders, who are a really good side. They showed that by beating Larne 3-0 last week as well, so that was an impressive victory for Glenavon.
Yes. Glenavon sometimes, I think, as people have talked about, can be a wee bit Jekyll and Hyde as well. They go through patches where they'll go maybe on a 6-7 game unbeaten run, but they can also go through patches where they suffer a wee bit defeats. I think they're sitting 7th in the table at the moment, which at the start of the season, when you looked at the teams and the signings and everything about, it's probably maybe where you would put Glenavon, sort of battling for that 6th place and stuff. No, but they'll be coming in. They're also, the last Mid-Ulster Derby obviously went our way at Mornview Park, so they'll be coming in maybe with a bit of fire in the belly to try and avenge that. But hopefully we can get a win here today.
Absolutely. Stay with us. We're going to take a wee short break here. After the break, we'll have some team news for you. We'll have Portadown manager Matthew Tipton up having a wee chat with us as well. So stick around. And also, I've been badgered at home. I have to say hello to Jackson and Blake. So hello, boys at home. Make sure you're being good for your mummy. Come back in a few minutes here, and we'll bring you the team news. Thank you, mate.
Hello and welcome back to Matchday Live. We're joined here by Portadown manager Matthew Tipton. He's going to go through his team lineup for today's big Mid-Ulster Derby against Glenavon. Welcome along, Matthew, if you want to talk us through your team for today.
Afternoon, Johnny. Jacob in goal, Greg Hall, Paul Finnegan, Adam McCallum, Eamon Scannell as a back 4. Then we've got Ben Guy, Sam Ward, Luke Wilson, Eamon Tilney, Stephen Murray and Lee Bonus.
Looking at the team, 4 changes from Tuesday night's defeat to Coleraine.
Yep.
Are those tactical changes, or are there more changes with the amount of games that's coming up at the moment?
A little bit of both, to be honest. I think any of the 4 boys would be disappointed that they're not starting that play the other night, because I think all of them done well. But we want to freshen things up. I think Stevie's been on the bench for a while. We want to give him a run out up front. We think him and Lee caused some problems obviously down there last time, so can we recreate that? We've been creating chances, we've just not been putting them away. So now the onus is to make sure that we still create the chances, but they actually get put away. Ben Guy, we rested Tuesday, probably with today in mind as well. So we want to get him in with his creativity. Sam Ward, the same.
This might come across as a bit of a silly question. Team talks for every Premiership match. Does the team talk change at any time when you're coming into a derby? Or is it just the same as it always is?
Nah, not for me. We should approach every game like it's a cup final. Being honest, that they're given the tactical information, the game plan of how we should play. But the boys know in there. Look, no two ways about this. They know what today means, not only to them and to the fans, because they've seen what happened in October when we won the game. For me, I'm disappointed that we haven't. We've not kicked on and won enough games since then. We've had good performances. We've picked up points, that were maybe unexpected, but we haven't really got the wins on the board. The challenge to players today is go and get a win and obviously give us the bragging right.
Obviously, with an empty stadium here today, a mid-Ulster derby, this, especially with so long without one at Shamrock Park, this place would be packed. The anticipation, the place would be bouncing. It's obviously a disappointment not to have this place crammed today, Matthew.
That's what we want all the time. But this season it's an anomaly. Without it, we've no fans any week. So what we've got to do is we've got to put a performance on to make the fans be itching to come back next season. That's our aim. We'd love to see the stands bounce, and I've been saying it every week on week. We want the fans back, but we've got to do it when it's right and when it's healthy. We look like we're nearly there, but we've probably said that 10 times over the last 12 months. So let's make sure that when they're back, that we're giving them a good product on the pitch, and we've got to start turning what we're doing into wins.
Well, thank you, Matthew, for joining us today. Here's hoping that we're speaking to you after a match with a smile, Matthew, tipping with us.
Hopefully.
We're going to take a slight break now. If you want to join us then after the break for some more Matchday Live. Thank you.
Welcome back here to Matchday Live at Shamrock Park. We have some team news for you. I know Matthew Tipton talked about the Portadown team here, but we've got both 11s up on the screen here for you to have a wee look through how both sides are going to line up. Both sides have made 4 changes from midweek from the Tuesday night games. As we said before there, for Portadown with Stephen Murray, Sam Ward, Ben Guy and Eamon Scannell coming in to replace Barney McCune, Kevin Healy, Oisin Kennedy and Adam Sally. Portadown team wise, were you looking for that match winner, Johnny?
I think the like of Stephen Murray, as Matthew had alluded to earlier on, Stephen started off in a house on fire, in the early season, the 2 goals against Glenavon, scored against 1 point. Picked up a niggly injury and hasn't really got his starting berth back since then. I think he adds that wee bit of experience up top. He's a bit of a goal poacher as well. He's likely to grab you a goal, so I'm excited to see him back into the team today. Also, I think we were talking sort of off screen now about the likes of the impact that Jacob Kearney has made, the We Are Ports Player of the Month for February. And I've also been very impressed by Eamon Scannell. Don't think he featured against Coleraine on Tuesday night, so I think he's had a real good start to his Portadown career. So I'm glad to see him back in the starting 11 today. Yeah,
I really think Stephen Murray might have a big impact in this game. Obviously, playing against a team that he played for a long time as well, and he showed what effect he can have in that first game of the season. So it's good to see him back in the starting lineup alongside Lee Bonus as well. Maybe they haven't partnered a whole lot this year, playing one up top a lot of times. So quite possibly the last time they played up front together might have been the first game of the season up at Mournfleet Park, where they seem to really have the Glenavon defenders basically on ice sometimes.
Yeah. I think we really worked the counter attack very well that match. That's where we got our rewards. 4 goals were probably all counter attack. So we look at the team. It's there's quite a lot of changes from that 11 that started the season to now. There was no Ben Tilney, Eamon Scannell, Sam Ward, Adam McCallum, Jacob Kearney. So over half the team has changed since that opening game of the season. It's a young team, experience up front. So very positive for today.
Yeah, we'll talk about the visitors as well. Glenavon then coming into this game. There's, as I said, they have also made 4 changes. Danny Perkis, Conor McCluskey, Robbie Garrett and McNulty all come into the side, replacing the 2 Doyles, Joshua and Andy. Matthew Snoddy and their captain Singleton. That's going to be a big miss for them today.
Yep, it certainly will. I don't think Conor McCluskey or Robbie Garrett featured against Carrick on Tuesday night, so it's a big bonus for Glenavon to have their two big players. We know all about Robbie Garrett. He's here for 3 years. We know all what he's about and what he can do. Conor McCluskey also spent some time at Portadown as well, and I think he was named today as the Football Writers Player of the Month for February. So those are two big players for Glenavon to have back for today's derby.
McCluskey seems to sort of come in for a really hot spell at times where he's one of the better players in this league, but then he goes cold for a while. At the minute he's in the middle of that hot spell, and it's something Portadown really had to get to grips with on defensive ways. Also for Glenavon, a big part of it I think is going to be Michael O'Connor in the midfield partnership with Robbie Garrett. Like, Michael O'Connor's been an English League 1 player, League 2 player for a long time. He's 11 caps Northern Ireland. He is a proper footballer. His set pieces are good. He controls the midfield, and him along with the energy of Robbie Garrett is something we're going to have to watch.
Yeah, don't think O'Connor featured in that game back in October, so he seems to have done very well since he signed for Glenavon. And no, as you say, that midfield pairing of O'Connor and Garrett, the Portadown midfield pairing will need to keep a close eye on them today.
And really, when you look at that midfield that Glenavon have, if they have a midfield two of Robbie Garrett and Michael O'Connor against there's an awful lot of experience there against the youthfulness of Luke Wilson, Sam Ward, and Ben Guy. So you have that experience against youth here today. Is the legs going to count, or is the experience going to count? That's the big question. That is
the big question. But you could also be, we've all talked about the lack of relegation taking away, allowing players to express themselves more. The young players, I think, in our team shouldn't have anything to fear. They should go out, express themselves, and do what they do today. And I'm confident that they have enough in the tank to get a result.
Yeah, it is. Right, well, listen, we'll take another short break here. After we break, we'll have Glenavon's media officer Michael Scott up to have a wee chat with us to get sort of their side of things as well. Another plug: get on the 247.tv/NIPrem. Purchase your stream link for the day. As we said before, it's a one-off £5 charge this time. Sit back, put the kettle on, and hopefully you'll enjoy the afternoon stream here at Summer Park. Welcome back here to Matchday Live at Shamrock Park. We have Michael Scott along with us here, the Glenavon media officer.
Yep.
Michael, how's things today?
I'm all right. I'm good. It's a bit strange being here with nobody else here, to be honest. Usually we're over there in that in the West End there, and the place is bunged and the place is bouncing, but none of that today. It's actually very hard. I don't know about you guys, but certainly for me, it's been very hard to get sort of excited about this game.
Yeah.
But we'll try.
Yeah, I think as I drove into Shamrock Park, I seen a couple of old faces and said, "Well, you excited?" And said, "We're sort of excited. We're not really. It just doesn't feel the same without the fans here."
You know, it's been a big part of the season. I mean, having no fans here. We went to Crusaders last week and we hadn't won down there. I think we've only won down there 3 times, maybe 4 times now, since 2005. And you'd be expecting to come out of there buzzing, bounce back onto the bus across the road, sing song down the way or all the way down home. Not a bit of it this time.
Yep.
Just a bit of a chat in the car and home for a beer.
Yeah. Talk about that game up at CV. That's a real statement of intent from you guys there. That's the real big statement win of the last maybe month or so.
Well, we've been on a good run of form, Mark. I mean, we're unbeaten in 6 now. We at that point I think it was 10 out of 12 points. I mean, obviously the result against Carrick, wasn't what anybody wanted really. We wouldn't say we were poor, but we just lacked up front in that game. But yeah, to get a win and a clean sheet, which is something we've found hard to come by recently, it was a big result for us, and hopefully we can build on that run today.
Conor McCluskey then back into the squad. He's been a real revelation of the last maybe couple of months for you.
Yeah, I mean, Conor has had a lot of our fans have had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Conor, to be quite honest, and last season maybe he frustrated a lot of people. This season he's been unreal. He's been one of our better players, and in fact maybe that's why against Carrick the other night we weren't so good. We didn't have Conor in the team. Conor was suspended, but I'm glad to see he's back in today, because he has become such a big player for us. And hopefully he can fashion something for us tonight or this afternoon.
Gary Hamilton signed a 3-year extension during the week then. Everybody happy with the job he's doing? And
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think between us, I mean, if we had been talking 10 years ago, whenever Gary was first appointed to the job, a lot of people would have gone, why are you giving Gary Hamilton a manager's job? Maybe a lot of people thought, well, you've signed him as a player, but you're really going to make him the manager as well. Gary's done a fantastic job for this football club. 2 Irish Cups, qualified for Europe, is it 4 times now? 4 times out of 6 years or something like that. Top 6 finishes, top 3 finishes. He's transformed the club, and he manages from top to bottom, as the chairman rightly pointed out in our interview with him the other day. And hopefully we can get a bit more success out of Gary over the next 2 or 3 years. Back
to today's game, then. Who are the 2 players from each side that you think is going to have a major impact on this game today? Well,
from our point of view, McCluskey, as we've talked about. But the other one as well, I think you alluded to him earlier on, Michael O'Connor. Mick, his set plays are unbelievable. He's a big player for us. He can score goals. He sets up goals. I think he's been one of our players of the season as well. But the other one as well, I'll maybe keep a wee eye out for is Lee McNulty. Lee, a lot of people don't really know a lot about Lee. Well, you guys might from playing the championship. Sorry to bring that up, but of course he was at Derview, and he's come in and he's done really well for us. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on today in his first taste of a derby game. As for you guys, I mean, I'm always wary of Stephen Murray, because we know what Stephen Murray can do, and of course he scored those goals against us in the first game of the season. Elsewhere on your side, I'm sort of Tindley splendid. I haven't seen the team. Obviously we've seen him in action for Larne. So I mean, he's obviously a very good player. It'll be interesting to see what he produces today as well.
You going to stick your neck out and give us a prediction?
Well, Mark, I'll not give a scoreline, but I would never leave the house if I didn't fancy us to win today. Or win any game.
So you haven't left the house in a while, have you?
We won on Saturday, didn't we? We didn't win on Tuesday night, fair enough, but no, I was there. Put it like that.
Fair enough. Well, that's now. I really appreciate you come up here and have a chat with us. Hopefully your afternoon is wasted and you go home sad. But listen, I appreciate you coming, and thanks for having a chat with us.
Not a problem.
All right, good man. Thank you. We'll have
Hello everybody and welcome back to Matchday Live here ahead of today's massive Mid-Ulster Derby in the Danske Bank Premiership against Glenavon. Before we go on, we'll start again by saying about today's match live coverage on We Are Ports TV Live via the 24/7 platform. One-off price today of £5 for today's game, and you can purchase that live stream by going to www.247.tv/NIPrem. Mark, we'll finish off today by talking about past meetings and the two clubs. One thing I'd sort of look back on ahead of today's game is sort of the similarities between where Portadown are at the moment to where Glenavon were, say, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Glenavon, I think, they were relegated in 2003-2004 season. Came back up, bounced straight back up again, but through a playoff. They didn't win the first division that season. But it took them a while to build. With young players and stuff, they would go on then again to finish in the bottom two a couple of seasons later and just beat Bangor, I think, on penalties, to maintain their Premiership status. But there is a lot of parallels between where we are now, where a Glenavon 10-15 years ago were. Yeah,
I think the big thing, maybe the biggest difference that we're doing that maybe Glenavon didn't do at the time was we are really focusing on that young nucleus of a squad. Like you look at, I know Marshall Gillespie on Twitter has been putting out tweets and stuff and all his stats about the ages of teams. And Portadown and Dungannon, I think, are the two that have the most teenagers that have got minutes this year in Premier League, and it's a real point of emphasis. And it's partly to do, it was forced maybe with budget constraints and stuff, that's the route we've had to go down. But I think it's a route that the management here want to go down. They're very stubborn, and we want to make sure that we have a young nucleus ready to come up. And the 30 or 40 games we're going to get this year, all these young players, they're going to be far better off for it come next year, and they're going to get better and better as they go. And when you have young players, it's up and downs. There's going to be a lot of peaks, there's going to be a lot of troughs, so you have to sort of be able to ride out those all those lows, which I think the mental capacity of these youngsters and the management team has been able really to do that. I'm just hopeful that they can push through and come back a better player next year and come back and just keep on improving. And you can really see the improvement of some of the young players. Like Luke Wilson is still only 19, and I don't know how many games he's played for us already, but it must be in the triple figures, and as captain as well. And he for me, he's a real driving force in the heart of midfield. And then the young players around him, young Oisin Connolly has come in this last number of weeks this season really, and has looked really comfortable at this level. He sort of looked dangerous. He doesn't look physically imposed by anybody. So that's maybe the difference that I can see that Portadown are doing. They really are focusing on a way of doing things, and hopefully it does provide dividends in the end of it.
You talk about the youth in the team. I think, from my own personal perspective this season, I have seen them grow. We obviously had that opening day win against Glenavon, but we suffered a few heavy defeats early on. We were beat 5-0 by Cliftonville, 5-0 by Crusaders. But you can see, since then, as the youngsters have grew and got more experience, more games under their belt. We drew here with Crusaders, drew here with Cliftonville, drew away with Larne. So you can see the players growing as the season goes on. And as we say, without the threat of relegation, they're able to express themselves, and there's not that much pressure way down on their shoulders, which can only do them well in the long run.
Yeah. Just don't let our manager hear you saying about the no threat of relegation, because if he's listening, he'll be fuming with us. He hates that whole end of it, because for him every match is a winnable match. There's no reason why you shouldn't win every game, and as a player and as a management, that's the attitude you have to have. But you're right, there is a small weight off shoulders that you're not looking over your shoulder constantly worrying about relegation and worrying if you're going to get a contract next year because you're going to get relegated, etc. So they have that wee bit more freedom. But at the end of the day, an awful lot of these players are on 1 year deals. Their futures aren't guaranteed at this level. If they can prove now that they're worth another year, they're worth another couple of years on a brand new deal with the club, that's what they want to do. They sort of don't want to be going out sort of dilly-dallying, not under any pressure, just sort of going through the motions and then find themselves with no club. You know what I mean? So there is individual pressure, there's collective pressure, because the badge on their chest tells them that they have to play well, they have to put everything in. I know there's no fans here, and that does have an effect. I remember Matthew Tipton talking earlier this season, sometimes it has a positive effect, because if you're not playing well, there's nobody getting in your back, and you can sort of tune yourself back in again. But in days like this, it's not great, because you want the fans getting in behind you. When the fans feel you're building pressure, they sort of get up and roar, and they do push you on. And even though maybe you don't feel it, but subconsciously it's there. You know, you can definitely feel the whole atmosphere behind you. So it's tough, especially for young players maybe. Although in saying that, young players are used to that, coming up through the youth ranks and stuff. They're used to not playing in front of people, so maybe it is a bit more relaxing for them. But hopefully today they can overcome the no fans thing, and they can put a real big performance in for everybody at home.
No, as you say, Matthew Tipton has hammered home since it was first muted about the lack of relegation. And as you rightly say, and as Matthew said, every player in a Portadown shirt today, they're playing for their futures. They're playing for new deals next season, and they're playing for the club and the expectation of the club and the expectation of the fans. And no club wants to finish bottom. Regardless if there's relegation or not. So as you rightly say, there is still everything to play for in regards to that. We're talking about similarities. Guy Hamilton signed a new 3-year deal as manager of Glenavon this week. Similarities are as well of the managers of both sides being there was playing number 9 for both sides, and Gary's case number 9 for Portadown as well. Gary, I think he's in charge 10 years this year. As Michael had spoke about earlier on, he's done a great job at Glenavon since he's come in and really turned them around, and sort of maybe a blueprint for what Matthew wants to do, as well regards where Gary took over Glenavon, not to where they are today.
We're going to wrap this up in a few minutes here, so sort of final thoughts. Give us what your prediction, doesn't have to be a scoreline, just how the game's going to go, where you think this game's going to be won or lost.
I think it's going to be very tight. I don't think either team is going to run away with it. I think a lot of emphasis will be on Singleton missing at the back for Glenavon. We know how aggressive and the hustling and the running and the effort that Lee puts in up front, and he won't give a defender a minute's peace. So I think him and Stephen Murray up front, I think that's where the game could be won for Portadown with that partnership. As we haven't seen it maybe from possibly that game up at Warren Point earlier on in the season. So that's where my eyes will be today in regards to how this game goes.
It's a bit strange seeing both teams what sort of looks like they're going to line up at a 4-4-2. It's maybe it's not done as much anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see two sides maybe lining up very similar. Portadown maybe are a wee bit more fluid to have a few players that can play centrally or out wide. So it'll be interesting to see where they actually line up at the start. 4-4-2. If both teams are sitting at 4-4-2, I would expect the midfield battle to really be the key. I think Portadown might put a third in the midfield to try to win that battle, especially against the likes of Robbie Garrett and Michael O'Connor, who I think is a fantastic player. I'm really interested to see how he's going to do today. I hope there's goals in it. I'm on commentary, so I sort of want something to say. So hopefully there'll be a few goals, a few controversial moments that go our way. We've had enough of them controversial moments go the other way recently, so we'll go for some controversy, plenty of goals, and plenty of talking points.
You talk about plenty of goals. I'll gladly just take the one goal in the game as long as it's scored by a red shirt in the Glenavon net mark.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we'll do it again. We'll plug our stream, 247.tv/NIPrem. Get on there as soon as you can. We don't want you running about at 5 to 3 trying to find the link, so get on there when you can, pop the kettle on, buy the stream, and listen to me talking rubbish for 90 minutes with Shane McCabe. But listen, I hope it's a fantastic game. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll bring you this feature for most, if not all, home games, and we'll improve it as we go. But Jonny, thanks for coming along with me.
Yep, thank you, Mark.
And here's for a good game.